Britain is subject to two-tier policing. That's the allegation currently obsessing Britain's right-wingers. The suggestion is that police come down hard on far-right protesters but are too soft on left-wingers or people from ethnic minorities. And that's a line that's been pushed on the likes of GB News and the Murdoch-owned Talk TV. They treat white working-class rioters differently to ethnic rioters, yelled Kevin O'Sullivan on Talk TV on Tuesday. Ethnic rioters, a very questionable phrase. A few hours later, Talk TV uploaded a video titled, "Accusations of two-tier policing will continue." Now, I always think that writing in the third person is just this really lazy way of doing journalism, right? It means you can make a claim without having to actually justify it, right? Oh, some people might say there's two-tier policing. I don't have to justify it because I'm just telling you what other people are saying. And it does seem like the two-tier policing claim is hard to back up. For a start, the police haven't seemed overwhelmingly effective at clamping down on the far right, which is why the rioters have been able to terrorize people for over a week. Secondly, it's difficult to make any comparison as to how disorder is being policed when no one on the left has hurled missiles at places of worship or attempted to burn down hotels full of people, right? If the policing looks different at one demonstration and another, maybe it's because one of them is burning down hotels and throwing bricks at mosques. Anyway, the right-wing meme continues, this two-tier policing idea, and it's had some high-profile support, including from Tory leadership candidate Robert Jenrick.
So let's talk about policing, because you yourself have tweeted about two-tier policing. As far as I could see, most recently on the 10th of March, does that phrase, two-tier policing, have any application in the last 8 or 9 days?
Well, I have been very critical of the police in the past, particularly around the attitude of some police forces to the protests that we saw since October the 7th. You know, I thought it was quite wrong that somebody could shout
what about the last 8 or 9 days?
On the streets of London and not be immediately arrested, or project genocidal chants onto Big Ben and that person not be immediately arrested. That attitude is wrong, and I'll always call out the police for it. I think at the moment, the police are doing their very best. You know, we should thank our brave police officers. We should support their efforts. They need now to be arresting the rioters. I want those individuals who've committed these serious crimes to be sent to jail for the longest possible term. I don't think at this moment politicians should be doing anything to make the lives and jobs of our police officers any more difficult than they already are.
That was so disingenuous, right? He tries to end it by saying, look, he's a candidate for Tory leader, by the way. So he's sort of saying, I'm a prime ministerial person. I'm a serious politician. Obviously, there are riots going on, so we should let the police get on with their job. These rioters need to be dealt with seriously. And in the first half of his answer, saying stuff which is so inflammatory in a way which is going to stoke the far right and which also puts the police in an incredibly sort of difficult situation, right? The idea that saying Allahu Akhbar should get you immediately arrested is so racist, right? It is, Allahu Akbar means God is the greatest, right? This is like saying anyone on a street corner who says hallelujah should be immediately arrested, right? 1 billion people pray every day and say Allahu Akbar, right? The idea that should get you arrested is so racist. And I think Robert Jenrick knows that, right? He knows that police are not going to be able to arrest someone for saying Allahu Akbar, right? That would be against every human rights law we have. And if you're saying the police should do this, I'm a politician, and then sort of rioters or the far right say, well, they're saying this and the police aren't arresting them. What's that an encouragement to do? It's an encouragement to vigilante justice, right? Well, they're saying Allahu Akbar. This senior politician says they should be immediately arrested. They're not being immediately arrested. Let's take this into our own hands. So it's an explicit call for vigilantism. Jenrick has tried to row back on the comment this afternoon. So he said or tweeted, Allahu Akbar is spoken peacefully and spiritually by millions of British Muslims in their daily lives. But the aggressive chanting below is intimidatory and threatening, and it's an offence under Section 4 and 5 of the Public Order Act. Extremists routinely abuse common expressions for their own shameful ends. All violence must end. All violence must be called out. Now let's look at the video he shared with that statement. Now, I have to say, I find groups of men with their face covered sort of going down the street a bit intimidating wherever they're chanting. If they were chanting England, 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 I'd find them a little bit intimidating. But the fact of saying Allahu Akbar does not make what those people are doing illegal, right? The intimidatingness has nothing to do with the chant. It has to do with the fact that there's lots of young men with their face covered, sort of going down the street. So again, a completely ridiculous effort to sort of save what was sort of immediately recognizable as it's not even an Islamophobic dog whistle. That was just outright Islamophobia, which he spouted on Sky News, as I say, in a way which encourages vigilante justice by far-right racists. Someone who wasn't impressed by all of this was former Tory chair Baroness Sayeeda Warsi. She tweeted this after Jenrick's attempt to roll back his comments. So she said, "No, Robert, you do not get to go on national broadcasters and say one thing and try and pretend you said something else after. If you genuinely feel your comments on Sky News were inappropriate, offensive, incendiary, and anti-Muslim, which they were, then start by apologizing. Then you can go back to pretending you're a responsible candidate for the leadership of our party. Not prepared to let you and other colleagues get away with this gaslighting and playing these games anymore. Too much damage has already been done to our country, and it deserves better than this populist nonsense."